And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, along with Odie, as we embark on what day, Odie?
It's hump day! I almost didn't want to get up this morning.
Look, you Clarkdale people, y'all stay out way too late.
Yeah, y'all an alarm clock.
I can't hang with y'all.
No, y'all just come together as a party, but we enjoyed it.
Late night. We've got all of that and more, some of the details of what went on last night, if you missed it, live from the Clarkdale High School Gymnasium. Nice place out there, by the way.
It was.
Always hospitality like you've never seen before.
A lot of people. I was happy to see the people that showed up.
Yes, sir, Bob.
I still, y'all know how I feel. One of my odiisms is I'm disappointed on the amount of people who show up at the poll.
Oh, yeah. We need people that it's bad when such a small percentage chooses what you do or have to do in life. And that only happens because you sit at home.
I don't care what way you vote. The way I vote is the way I vote. But I just want everybody to go vote.
Yeah. Then it actually is the people speaking.
Yeah, because this isn't the people speaking. So y'all go vote. Whether
Yes,
it's
sir.
easy to do or not. And then, all right, at 7 o'clock, I think y'all still got 20 minutes. So everybody hurry up and get there. And I don't know if this is countywide. Maybe somebody can say if this is countywide or what, but I do know at West Lauderdale Elementary is meet you at the poll this morning.
Oh, is that what they're doing?
So meet you at the poll to go ahead and start the day off with a little bit of Jesus in your heart. Then when you get through with that, I think it's around 9 o'clock, Oakland Heights, that's our old name, College Park Methodist Church. We're starting the Bible reading marathon.
That's today?
They're going to start at about 9 o'clock this morning and going to read the Bible 24 hours a day until they completely finish every single word in it, and that's going to normally take to about Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
So the whole time, all throughout the day, all throughout the night, stop by on your way home, get in the prayer tent, have a little prayer, listen to a little bit of the word, and
you'll be blessed. That's
and
what it's all
you'll be blessed.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, we did get some anniversaries and a birthday or two, hadn't we?
Yeah, look, so Billy and Cheryl Humphreys has 43 years of marital bliss.
We ain't heard from him yet. We don't know about
but Miss
that. That's
Cheryl
just her talking.
Yeah, she said that. So we'll see where he's at. He may be out getting roses and all that. So what do you get for 43 years?
A pint.
That's almost like a fifth. And then little Lim Lewis, Jeff Lewis's grandson, 5 years old. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
I hope you have a wonderful day. And then I can't go without saying
What?
happy birthday to my stepsons down in L.A.,
Yeah.
down there in Lower Alabama. Today's their birthday. Happy birthday. Both of them great kids. Worked their butts off. I was blessed with those two kids, and just want to say happy birthday to Hogan and Nolan Turner.
There you go. Well, as you tried to sleep last night, gunfire would ring out across the city limits of Meridian. Oh, believe me, it happened. As we go here to take a look, 44th Avenue and around 13th Street. Meridian Police Department will respond to this area there. Now, no one was hurt. No one was injured in this either. But we do have a few more places of interest to bring up. Let's go to 25th Avenue. We also had gunfire there last night that would happen in the 2200 block. Now, this is an all too familiar place as you get here to go to Poplar Springs Drive. This area right along in here is constant gunfire. I don't know what's going on there, but it's consistent. every other weekend, every few days. There's always reports of that. And I would say that police did recover some shell casings there last night as well. Since Monday, we're day 3. Still no word from the Meridian Police Department as to their thinking on what happened at the Dollar Tree. We've got no official word from there. We've heard from family members. She was hit 5 times. We send prayers. And there has been a GoFundMe set up. We'll share that later today. Yeah. I was hoping the Meridian Police Department could give us some insight of what their thoughts are. But we're going to go ahead and get that up today so folks can help out with that.
I do know that Meridian Police Department with the detectives, they are working this case pretty good.
We're talking about all the way up the chain of the folks that come out and talk to the public.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than not being told anything. Well, it leads you to believe things that sometimes may not be factual. And people take their own narrative when they're not told the truth. You have to tell the truth. So long as you explain things along the way, things are not near as bad. Always remember that. Remember the old saying when you're a kid of always tell the truth, it'll work out?
Mm-hmm.
Step up. Hey, it's my fault. I've done this. This is what went on. It'll be better.
Yeah.
Hey, Odie, tell me this. What is this? What is this that I spy in a bucket truck? Oh, let me show a picture.
Whoop, whoop.
What is that? Oops. I think we got a camera going up.
Well, I'm not sure if that's a camera or if that's going to be a traffic sensor.
Well, we need a camera there. Let me tell you, because that store, right, I'm not calling the name of it, but right there beside that particular area gets broke into every other weekend.
Yeah, we need 3 or 4 cameras right there.
I'd say 5. Just mount them all over the place there. You'd be surprised what you'd see.
And then charge the ones who catch doing something wrong.
Alive. That's a crime increasing there also. Man, I don't know if a piece of chicken was involved with this or not, like the last wreck that we had. That gentleman was so funny of what I interviewed him after the wreck. He said, man, I was just reaching down getting a leg. Next thing I know, my truck was upside down. But yet again, we go
this chicken out.
we go back to 8th Street, and here we are. This is the scene of another wreck near Church's Chicken there. At least one person was sent for medical attention. We hate that happen. We'll hope everything's okay. No chickens were injured in that wreck.
Yeah, that's so Brother Rick Gardner says, morning fellas from the big city of Martin, and he is on here just about every day saying good morning. Brother, we don't always say good morning every day, but today I know is a special day for Rick because his daughter Hannah and her husband, they get to wake up with their baby boy in their arms, in their home, out of the hospital, who has spent a long time. I can't remember how long it is, but I know he's been there for a month. He was in Jackson, had some problems, but he's doing good. They were able to go home yesterday. So, Rick, good to see that news come out for Hannah, and I know y'all are proud, and just want to say that our prayers continue for you, brother.
Not always are criminals very smart. Sometimes it gets them in trouble.
That's only in the movies, though.
In real life, it happens. Sometimes it takes actual mayors and people like that standing behind the police department to make things like this stick. But we're seeing this, and I bring it up a lot. This morning is an unusual amount of we can't take this anymore. As we go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, looters are taking over our cities and putting more businesses out of, well, they're losing profit. They cannot keep operating this way. Foot Locker, Apples, and Lululemon, which I've never been there. I think maybe Purses. Is
Lululemon.
What do they do? Purses or something?
That's where them tight fitting leggings and all that.
Okay, that's what they do?
Yeah, $60 leggings.
Well, they
out there buying them that don't need no leggings.
The police arrested 20 people. It's that same thing where they go in and what they call flash mobs, and they go in at one time and they all steal. One was not so bright as she videoed it live on Facebook as she went to steal it. And, it does give your name there. I'm stealing. Here it is. Come get me. She was real easy to track down with the merchandise later as she ran with her phone and did this. You cannot make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Now, we also see, as we start looking at this, the effects of people that take in large cities that are not prosecuting people who steal and have upped it to $1,000 where it's just a petty thing. You take 30 people in one day stealing $1,000 each and they're not charged, you're not going to be in business very long. We see that Target is going to be closing 9 stores nationwide in these large cities due to this fact of they can't take it anymore. We come across here. CVS is the next one that will close 900 stores by the end of 24. 900 stores, that's a lot.
And now, these are the same places that complain because, we don't have any grocery stores. We don't have anywhere to go get food. We don't have anywhere. Now you're not going to have anything because you don't know how to act.
Well, it's like when
break in and steal everything.
Like when there's disagreements, if you burn the store down the street from you, it's not going to. That's somebody from your community that you're running their business. We see that Walgreens is going to close 150 stores by the end of 24 due to the same reason. Oh, I'm not done yet.
Can't blame them.
Rite Aid is the next one. They're closing 500 of 2,100 stores. The list goes on and on of what we're talking about, of what's happening across America.
And we're going to pay for that because they're going into Chapter 11 with $3.3 billion worth of debt. And it's all steering because of people sitting there robbing their stores, and they're having to continue repurchase everything in that store.
As y'all see, and so many times these videos come out to where is the word brazen, to where they no longer care that it shows their face. They just walk by the camera and wave as they drag. I've seen them drag garbage bags out right by security and go, touch me, you can't. Because the store's policy says you can't do that. And you have to really step back and go, some of these stores have caused this all by themselves. And it's, I guess, the thought of being sued by criminals. But when you don't let your employees stop somebody from stealing and you just have to stand there and watch them walk out the door, we need a button. When somebody starts to do that, you hit the button, it's locked down, the door's locked, they can't get out, and then police arrive and take them away. That's just my 2 cents worth there.
And somebody said it not possible, didn't think it was possible to put cameras up to video street traffic for violations of the people. It's because a lot of this right here that's going on that we've got to have these cameras.
You've got to change with the times.
You've got to change with the time, and then it was your First Amendment right. When you walk outside your house and you in the public street, you ain't got no First Amendment.
No, it's free to the public.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can video record you anywhere, and there's nothing you can do about it. Sad state. But you get somebody high enough in a building with a good enough zoom lens, and I mean they're capturing you. But we're not. Those cameras are not to sit here and write you a ticket for running a red light or anything else. It's more for we got to have safety, and we're sitting here getting a store robbed, continuous. Something's got to be done. Yes, they should have cameras, and I believe they do, but that's obviously not catching who's doing this.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Don't waste your money on something that's $45 and you can't see. Y'all have seen the pictures that I've shared, and you go, I can't see what that is. Spend just a little bit more, get a little bit better, finer camera, and it'll help out. We got more coming up as we talked about the CTE program. Woo, y'all get ready. We're going to talk about this, give you some reasons as to what's going on with this. All that's next. Get ready. Tony's in the house with Scotty Ray and Odie.
There is something special about autumn and Al's Garden and Gift. There's no better place to pick up colorful mums, snapdragons, and pumpkins. You'll love the bountiful selection of pumpkins in a vibrant array of colors and sizes. Hay bales, corn stalks, homemade wreaths, and flags will add extra flair to an entrance or an indoor space. Make tailgating fun with Captain Rodney's Grumpy Man, redneck gourmet sauces, salsa, jellies, cheese straws, and more. Al's Garden and Gift, a charming place to harvest memories and gifts this fall.
Summertime has arrived, and Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 has the exact lawnmower for your need. If you've got a big yard with acres and acres to mow, they have a mower for that. No matter the size yard you have, Freeman Tractor has the lawnmower that fits you and your budget. from 48-inch all the way up to 60, or the X-Mark lawnmower. Plenty of these to choose from. Also, they carry a complete line of LS tractors. Come by for a test drive today. Financing available. Drop in today to Freeman Tractor, Highway 494, see coleslaw or buttermilk.
Your next Maytag or Whirlpool appliance is waiting on you at All Temp Appliance and Refrigeration on Highway 19 North. If you've been trying to locate a freezer, stop by and see their big selection of upright and chest freezers, a showroom full of stoves, gas, and electric. Maybe it's a new refrigerator from large double doors to the simplest of refrigerators. Name brand washers and dryers like Speed Queen and Amana. And delivery is available with a great service department to back up what they sell. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and by appointment after hours and weekends.
Welcome back. Scotty Ray and Odie as we get this. You know, last night, I have to say, as I mentioned, I was out late. You remember when I had surgery, cataract surgery?
Yeah.
Me, cataract surgery. Well,
We're getting up there.
it really got to where I couldn't see Brother Danny down at the church. Is the only reason I finally gave in, went to the doctor. He just got real blurry there. I could see something bald up there, but I couldn't see much more than that, Danny. I'm not going to lie. So I went and had the surgery, and I'm not real sure that I've been out. It got to where at night, I'm not going to lie about this, when a car was coming, I couldn't see how far it was. You know, it was just kind of a blur down there. So I got to where I didn't really drive a lot at night. Last night was really the first night that I've driven since I had the surgery a year ago. Man, I could see. Now, I can't see nothing on my phone, but I can see off.
I got to go get these. I think my prescription didn't run out.
Then, whoa.
And
It's a little low, isn't it?
yeah, I got to go get me eyes checked. Them people, I'm like you. I come in and I have to squint, going, "Oh, dadgum, them lights are bright." And then it's like, well, no, they're not bright, because I'll blind them and they'll be like, poof, poof, and ooh, my bad.
It got to where, and I don't know what caused that. They just said that they kept saying, you're mighty young to have it. I don't know if they were trying to make me feel good or if that was really the case.
They're probably just making you feel.
Yeah, I got a feeling of that. But I can see at night now to drive. I'm all impressed by all that. As we mentioned, we went down to Clarkdale last night, and a little bit of it did get heated as we went live from the gymnasium to discuss the CTE program. What is that? $12 million.
It did get heated, but at the same time, it was well controlled.
Very.
Nobody got out of hand. It was what you think you would see when you come to a heated discussion. Nobody got out of hand. And I think that goes a long way to show about that
Absolutely.
community.
Clarkdale's a great community.
Yes.
Well, all right. Tony McDaniel's in with us this morning. He's here with the Taxpayers for Reduced Lauderdale County School Spending. Tony, we welcome you in. How in the world are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Scotty. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate this.
There's a lot of questions about this. Now,
Sure it is.
We understand that $8 million has already been set aside. The school board is asking for an additional $12 million. One of the first questions, 12 and a half.
12 and a half million.
The average Joe, when we start talking about taxes, break this down for me. Say that, give me a figure of what your taxes are right now and how that will affect your bottom line.
Excellent question. You know, they're trying to spend this thing, as I pointed out last night, about how it's only going up this much. It's
$4 a month.
$100,000 house. It's going to be $31.50 a year. Is all that's going. Surely you can come up with $31.50. But my issue is, it's not how little it's going up; it's what you pay now. Most people don't realize we're paying 60.7 mils for county government and 58 mils for the county school to run off of. So a total of 118.7 mils is what you're paying today. And in that 58 mils, the schools already raised our taxes 0.14 mils to the maximum allowed by law. There are two pots of money for them. They have a 55 mil pot that is the general fund, and they have a debt service pot that's 3 mils. And they've asked the supervisors, which they granted, and it's kind of a screwy law because the supervisors have to go by what the school board says. If they don't raise the taxes, they can come back to the county government and demand that money.
All right, now for the person that's sitting, and we'll do some figures in just a second on this, but I want to point out, say that there's a lot of people that are watching now, and you probably personally know folks that are on a very limited income.
Absolutely.
Now, would you say that there could be some taxes that are going to increase that are not included in what we're already paying? Isn't there some taxes that will start at a certain date that probably hadn't hit yet?
Well, the one thing he mentioned last night, reappraisement, and I disagree with Dr. Kane, is that, he's talking about reappraisement would lower your taxes. Unless you've done something, your house is burned down, it's not going to go lower.
Mine's never gone
higher.
lower.
Mine has always gone up. And I think the way they use the word reappraisement, they're not appraising anything. They got a group of people coming in to say, we're going to raise your assessed value 20%. And you go down there with an appraisal and give it to them, and you got an appraisal. Well, how else am I going to debate this with you? You're calling it an appraisal, but I said, I want to see your appraisal. Well, we don't really appraise anything. We just kind of general value that everything has gone up. So it's a tax increase. And if you want to know the history of that tax increase, the supervisors really like this because we didn't raise your taxes. We didn't do it. It's a reappraisement.
Yeah.
And it's like I told Kyle, my supervisor, I said, I expect the next time you do this, y'all can lower the millage and make it the same dollars. And it doesn't matter which side of the multiplication goes up, goes up, you're going to pay more dollars in tax. Whether the millage goes up or whether your appraised value goes up, you're going to pay more dollars in tax. But they do have the power to lower the millage so you pay the same amount of dollars. But they've never done that. They
Never
like to
happened.
claim it on reappraisement.
That's something to think of. All right, let's go back to that, how much it will affect the average person here. Let's say that you've got a house that, give me a figure, you may already have some figures in
I
front.
got some
Say
figures.
200, 250.
All right, it's $31.50 per 100,000 is what it will go up, okay?
$31.50.
Yeah, per 100,000 of value, okay? So if you've got a $300,000 home, it's going to be $100, okay, roughly.
Right.
Okay, and but think about what you're paying now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Mine's somewhere around $4,400 is what I have to pay every year.
My tax bill just is phenomenal. Of course, I own other property too,
Right.
not just my house. But I'm paying over $9,000 a year in property tax,
And that adds up.
It adds up quick, and I just don't think that in this particular case that it's justified that the state gave them $8 million, even though it's still our money. I don't know how the state, whether it came part of the COVID money that the state got, how they got this money, or what pot of money it came out statewide. But I'll have to take my hat off to Billy Adam Calvert that got this single-handedly for the school system.
Thank you.
And for talking to Billy, he was thinking they were going to be able to do the project for $8 million, and I think they could. But when you get an architect involved, and architects are paid based on the cost of the project and all that, the skies that you give them a blank check, they're going to design you a Taj Mahal. Okay?
Correct.
And so they easily can do a nice job with $8 million on that building.
Let me back up on this, and I want to ask this because there's probably some people going, well, who is Tony? What does Tony do? Is he even, how people sit back and they go, what does he really know? Tell us who you are, where you come from, and how you do know what you're talking about. You've run businesses for how many years?
45.
All right, what'd you own?
I own Industrial Electric Motor Works that's north of Meridian. And when I retired June a year ago, we had 56 employees. So I've employed a lot of people over the years. We've grown every year that we were there. We used to be down on 8th Street, okay? And we had a fire back in the 80s that burned our shop down, and we, because of zoning laws in the city at the time, building back was an issue. So we bought this property out there and moved out to the county. Best thing we ever did. Our property taxes got cut in half. Truck tags and all that got cut in half. But
Right.
I ran that business 45 years, and we sold it to Integrated Power Services in 2020, which is a much larger company. They've got 58 industrial electrics around the country.
That's a heap.
That's right. They're a good company, and I worked for them for 18 months doing the transition, and I retired in June of last year.
So this gives you kind of an outlook of what
Right.
Tony, building, you've added on to your building.
Absolutely. I've done building, and I can tell you one thing that kind of ties in with this project right here. When after we were acquired, the president of the company wanted to put a panel shop in Meridian. I had some jobs and wanted to start building electrical panels. And so we had a 50,000 square foot warehouse that we had already bought and refurbished the building part of it.
Now, in comparison to the CTE building, it's 60, right? It's kind of not that much.
Basically, it looks about like the same thing that the old PV building looks like when we got it. We stripped it down, put new roof, new siding on it, and new concrete, all that kind of stuff. We did all that. And we spent, I guess, for the purchase of the building and the refurbishing, we spent about $1 million on doing that, okay? And it's nice. On new LED lighting in it, we put in heating and air conditioning, humidity control for storing of large electric motors. We did all that. And then we turned around when the president of IPS wanted to put it in his panel shop. We took a section of that warehouse, approximately 10,000 square feet, and we walled it up, put in 2 big automatic roll-up doors. We put it. We had taken the plumbing for that building was it was an old well. This is the old Redmond mobile home location.
Right.
What this originally was, okay. And the water was, you couldn't drink it. It looked like rust. Okay, so we just cut the water line loose, did away with the well. And so we didn't have water in there. So when we decided to put a panel shop, there's going to be employees down there working. We got to have bathrooms, got to have water. So we ran county water down there. We had to put in sewage that we had to put in. We had to build bathrooms. We redid lighting to make it a little better for people wiring panels. We put an electrical service that would do the testing of these panels that we built. We put in offices. We put in a big plotter for these big prints that we had to print out for the wiring of these panels. We bought these tables that are where you work on these panels where you can put them to the right level where you don't hurt your back when you're working on them, and they will stand the panels up when you get through with them. Put in a few little jib cranes to help hold them up when they're these big tall panels and that type thing. And we did all that for $200,000.
That's a lot.
Okay, now we had the building. No, that didn't count. We already did the building, okay?
Right.
But I spent $200,000 to put this panel shop in, which is basically like what they're talking about doing for this building that's going to be divided into sections. But I don't see any. It's just wide open. Of course we have a little area where when they take breaks, they can sit down and got a drink machine and that type thing. But you're saying spend wisely is what you're saying. Exactly. I'm saying $8 million. If somebody had given me $8 million when I bought that warehouse, it'd been unbelievable what I would have had.
So $1.5 million, you took a shell and completely remodernized it to fit the need that you were wanting.
Absolutely. And if I'm outside of it, I don't have all the windows and all that kind of stuff like they show in this computer generated stuff that they show us about how this building's going to look. But if I had $8 million, I guarantee you I could have done that.
The building from Peavy's, was it purchased or was it donated from Hartley?
That's a good question. Hartley donated a building over in DeKalb, I think it was, that building that he had over there to the school system over there. And everybody assumed that was done. But according to Michael Wilson, my school board representative, he told me that they paid $990,000 for the building.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
They paid $990,000, according to him. I just wanted to get clarification on that. And there again, there's some questions about whether the money came from to purchase the building. I had a coffee a couple of weeks ago at a friend's house with John Mark Kane, and in that conversation, he said they paid for the building with 16th section land money. That they didn't use the money from the state, and the only money they had used from the state was to gut the building and get the necessary permits and pay the architect. So now he's saying that they paid for the building with that money, and they're down to $6.5 million. But I mean, I don't know what's true, whether the 16th section land bought the money and they had to reimburse it, or what the case was there.
Right,
but they still have a lot of money.
We'll come back more with Tony here in just a moment as we continue this morning. CTE taxes is all on the way as we continue the talk this morning.
Our local headlines are brought to you by the Rock House Gun and Pawn.
At the Back Porch, we're bringing families back together for fun, food, and all the things you love to enjoy around your home. Every event starts with a great grill, great cookware, and access meat and dairy, along with frozen vegetables and casseroles, and over 500 brands of spices and sauces. Relax in our chairs, swings, day beds, and have fun with our cornhole boards. From coolers to trailers, we have everything you need. When you see the big chair, you've made it to the Back Porch.
Your local farmer knows a good deal when he sees one. The L-Series Kubota tractor is the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA and offered at Parish Kubota with 0% financing available. Come see why we're more than a tractor store at Parish Tractor.
Vote no on October the 3rd. The Lauderdale County School Board wants to raise your taxes. The board is asking for an additional $12.5 million for the Career and Technical Education Project, bringing the total cost to $20.5 million, which means higher taxes for you to pay. The election alone will cost taxpayers $40,000 to $50,000. Send the school board a message. Vote no on raising your taxes by voting no for the $12.5 million for the Career and Technical Project, paid for by taxpayers for Reduced Lauderdale County School Spending. Rock House Gun and Pawn is open. You pump shotgun or an AR. The Rock House will have the gun that you need, with a huge selection of ammunition for just about any caliber that you may be looking for. Pistols, scopes, and a whole lot more. Plus a private lobby for your confidentiality when it comes to your pawns. Rock House Gun and Pawn, located at 5430 Highway 19 North Meridian. Interstate Auto, conveniently located on North Frontage Road in Meridian, right down from IHOP, has a large selection of late model cars and trucks just waiting on you. You may be in the market for an SUV or a family sedan to fit all the kids in. And a huge selection of trucks, whether it's a Ford, a GMC, a Chevrolet, a Dodge Ram that you're looking for, or an economical Toyota truck. Inventory changes daily at Interstate Auto. From a minivan to a sporty four-door sedan, Interstate Auto has what you need. North Frontage Road, Meridian. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, along with Odie, as we have Tony in with us this morning. I have to ask Carl Merchant as he asks us a question, and I have no clue what he asked us.
Him and Kurt sitting there. They may have put something in their coffee.
Y'all got mixed coffee this morning? What's going on with y'all? Sandy White, how are you doing? Glad to see you.
She finally made it up.
She is up.
Yeah,
Got
she
that
just said
makeup
B.
on.
She didn't say hey.
Yeah, she's trying hard. That's hard for her on an early Wednesday there. Odie, you had a question that you wanted to put out on this as we get ready to vote. Was it October the 3rd?
October 3rd, a week ago, or a week from yesterday. And I've got grandkids that go, one's in elementary, one's in middle school, I guess. Junior high, I think is what he is now. Golly, we're getting old. But anyway, one of the big questions that was posed last night at Clarkdale was why was the election done separate from either the general or the primary, but also why was it done at the school with the safety of our children was a big focus last night.
It's a good question. School bonds are, typically they're hard to pass because of the, if you walk up to anybody on the street, you want your property taxes and car tax to go up, people are going to say, no, I don't want it.
Correct.
For whatever reason, so anyway, it's a thought out process, okay? Number one, having a special election so that you have to make a special effort to vote on one issue is most people won't do it. The food and beverage tax they passed in the city of Meridian, 2%, 14% of the eligible voters passed that tax, okay?
14%.
14%, okay? So that's a low voter turnout, and you've got what I call do-gooders that'll go down and vote for it, and the people that are really against it, well, one thing, I got to go down to City Hall, and I don't think I'll do that, okay?
It's too much trouble to go.
Too much trouble. Yeah. All right, now, so we get to the school bond issue, and they had the right, the school board has unbelievable power. They could have had the election at one location. They could have had them at all polling places, 24 of them. Or they can have 4, whatever. But they chose to have it at the schools. Now, why is that? You have to think. Why would they do that? Why would they put the children's safety in jeopardy? And I did a little research. In 2009, the city of Meridian had its last election at a school. This county had already opted out before then. And again, talking to our election officials, why did they remove the schools from the voter rolls? And it was said the safety of our teachers and our students. We don't want to open up our doors to let who knows what come in our schools on the pretense of voting and cause some kind of issue with our students or teachers. So I asked the question at Southeast, what's changed since 2009? And I really never got a straight answer.
Okay.
Okay, so you got to think, why would they have it at the schools? And I'll tell you why I think they want to have it at schools. It's called teachers are there, easy to vote. They're really harping on these teachers at staff meetings and emails and different types of things about how important it is they get out and vote for this thing. There's, even don't know if it's true. I heard a rumor from a teacher that they said that their budgets would be cut if it didn't pass. And that this bond has nothing to do with teachers' budgets, I can tell you that. But anyway, they decided to have it at the schools. And think about it. Have y'all ever sat at a school between, say, around 7:15 and 8:30 in the morning?
Well, it's kind of tough to get in there.
Can't do it. The one out at Southeast, I went over to a friend's house the other morning during school time to drink coffee, and I had to wait through that red light 3 times. Okay? The school parking lot is a zoo. Buses going in, people dropping off the kids, that type thing. And the same thing's just about that bad in the afternoons when you're picking up.
I went to Clarkdale yesterday, and it took me 2 or 3 passes before I found a place where I could park to go in.
There you go.
And that was at, wasn't it 1:30, 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
We was there about 1:30.
It's difficult to get there, and so the harder it is to make people vote, the more people sort of heck with it. I'm not going to go and get mixed up in that mess. And so, they had it at schools for a reason to help benefit. I call it home field advantage or voter suppression, if you want to call it that. The less people go out and vote, the more chances they're going to have to pass it.
Was the question ever answered about security of how this will be handled?
Absolutely. In Southeast, I brought up the fact about the 2009, the last election they had, and I said, what has changed since then? Never got a straight answer. And about taking it under advisement, they can have a virtual day, just call school off. It don't have to be a virtual day. They can call school off. If a tornado was coming, they'd call school off. And so I guess they don't consider this being a safety issue to the students, but they did in 2009 or before that it was a safety issue to stop voting at the schools, to making it a regular polling place. And so, like I said, at Southeast, the Coker Chapel is literally across the street. So why have it at school when you could have had it across the street and not had put your children in jeopardy? Okay,
A lot to think on there,
exactly.
isn't it?
And with 24 polling places already approved by the electors
And people accustomed to going there.
There was no reason not to have it at the regular polling places.
All right, let's take this a step further. What is it costing the taxpayers to do it this way, to have it in the schools and not on the general election?
$30,000 to $50,000 is the range that Donna Jill gave me.
That's a lot of money. Now, that $30,000 to $50,000 could have been used in a different way for this program.
Absolutely. And if you look how they wrote the bond on the ballot, it has where they can pay the debt service or any kind of cost that's involved with this election through the bond. Okay, the way they've written the bond is it gives them a blank check to do anything they want to with it. Now, Mark Kane keeps saying about that's the way the state has it, but it gives them the right to spend any way they want to. Once they get the money, we didn't know we were going to have to do this, or we didn't know. They can spend any way they want to, even buy buses. They have that on there.
Well, and you brought that up, and Jimmy brought this up last night. So the bond reads, shall, and this is what we'll be voting on, shall the Lauderdale County School District issue its bonds in the maximum principal amount of $12.5 million to raise money for the purpose of paying the cost, including the cost of borrowing, of purchasing, erecting, repairing, equipping, and remodeling school buildings and related facilities, including a new career and technical education center, purchasing land therefore, performing site and paving work, and providing necessary water, light, heating, air conditioning, and sewage facilities for such school buildings and related facilities. So this actual bond is not, it doesn't say for the sole purpose of the CTE.
All right. They could have wrote it that way. They could have wrote it so that you knew that all that stuff could be incorporated, but they could have put the wording in there. These funds will only be used for this building.
All right, we got more on the way as we travel along this morning as we get ready to vote. Less than a week from now, it's your decision on this. We'll be right back with more coming up with Scotty Ray Report.
H&H Residential of Meridian is your #1 carpet and flooring store. If you've been thinking of a new look for your home or office, call for a free estimate or consultation. H&H can install or you can do it yourself. H&H has all of your design needs from color, style, and texture. If you can dream it, H&H can make it a reality. Come see the large selection of hardwood flooring, laminate, vinyl, and even carpet. H&H Residential of Meridian, open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 321 Hawkins Crossing Road. Call Rosemary anytime, 601-462-9541.
Collinsville, Mr. Discount Drugs, your local pharmacy and gift shop, thanks you for your continued support. Whether you shop with us in-store, through our app, over the phone, or in our drive-thru, our team will provide the best personalized customer service experience you expect from your local pharmacy. When you call or message us, you are promptly greeted by the Mr. Discount team that's ready to help. When you choose our pharmacy, you're choosing a locally owned pharmacy that cares about you and your community. Collinsville, Mr. Discount Drugs makes a difference.
And welcome back, Scotty Ray Report. As we always have fun. Somebody said that they had more fun watching me and you last night. I had the blast.
I did too. I really did. I was like, ooh.
I hate that we couldn't comment on that. And back to Dr. King.
Yeah. Here comes the next
We could
question.
really make meetings exciting. Let us go to the city council meeting. We could really change all that. And back to Jimmy's court. Well, he's not saying anything.
Well, talking about something that really hit, and that was the safety, and this really surprised me. I guess that was one of those I went, ooh. We've got however many sex offenders in our county. By law, they have a right to vote, and it does not matter where they are voting at. And one of the questions was, and I think this is something that you touched on a little bit, Tony, was we're allowing sex offenders into our schools.
Possible,
for this, or
I want to make sure that everything we talked about was correct. I don't want to give any false information to swing it one way or the other. And so our group got together with an attorney, and we couldn't answer the question because in one law it says they're not allowed within 500 feet of any school or school activity. They can't even go to a softball field where kids are playing that's school related, things of this nature. And then these people do have the right to vote. So we got Kyle Kirkpatrick, which is our Assistant Secretary of State, and he called yesterday and told us that their right to vote trumps them staying away from the school.
Really?
That's what was said. That they have the right to vote, and that trumps everything. Your right to vote. Now, typically we don't, there's 208, I went on the Lauderdale County website, the Sheriff's Department, and they have 288 registered sex offenders that are allowed to vote. Now, whether they're registered to vote, I don't know. Whether they're going to vote, I don't know. But we've invited them the way it was put. You've invited them to the schools.
All right, let me ask this.
By having that as a polling place.
During one of the events, and I feel, Odie, I don't remember what the event was. I went into the Temple Theater one night to take some pictures of what was going on. The moment I walked in, I was stopped by security, and I had to raise my hands, and I got wanded. How is this going to be handled at the schools? Are you going to be checked for weapons? Has anybody said?
I mean, normally you're not. Okay, I don't see any metal detectors at any of the schools. In fact, I don't think Lauderdale County has any metal detectors to go through, or if they're going to wand anybody. And I can't see the Sheriff's Department putting 4 or 5 deputies at every school.
I don't think we've got enough.
Right, I don't think we have enough. So they're just winging it and hope nothing happens. And I think that's a grave mistake on the school board and the administration's part. Number one, to have it at schools, opening it up like that. And number two, we've brought it up and they refuse to do anything about it. And it tells me for sure that they are really not thinking this thing through as far as the safety of the children. That is a main goal in life, is to make sure these kids are safe every day, and they're not doing it under these circumstances.
And I want to be clear about this, because I was at some event a few weeks back, and I had somebody walk up to me and they said, well, you're running that commercial that says vote no. I said, yes. They said, so you're against our kids. I said, whoa. I said, I didn't say that. I said, I'm against taxes going up. And give me your stance on this. What is your thoughts of the program itself? What is your thoughts on this, Tony?
I'll be glad to tell you that. And I've talked to Rob Smith, and he's a genuine guy. I mean, he really cares, and I like the guy, okay? I don't agree with all the programs. As a past employer, I had kids come up there, that have been at, quit school in the 10th grade, and, some of them got their GED, some of them haven't. And they've done themselves a disservice, especially if they get married, have a child, and they're limited on their educational background, what they can do in life, and that you feel sorry for these people that have done this to themselves. But, a center like this is really desperately needed as far as that is concerned. But I don't agree with the programs, because I think a lot of the programs, such as aviation, some of the others they mentioned, the tractor thing, when they get out of school, they got to go further to get their degree, so to speak, in what they're in. They can't get it in high school. They have to go further. Most of these kids, in my opinion, when they get out of high school, that's it. They're going to quit.
Yeah, so
what they get is what they get.
So we're trying to train them as they get ready for that workforce at 18. And I didn't realize that about that. Now, I know MCC is also going to offer something with the tractor, if I am not mistaken.
Yes, they're trying to get into diesel repair, which is desperately needed. As people that, the diesel, the truck places that work on diesel, how hard.
Yeah, try to find a mechanic these days.
Right.
We need them.
Exactly.
And they make excellent money.
Yeah.
As we all know, if you've ever watched Mike Rowe with Dirty Jobs, he will tell you that almost everybody that's on that show were millionaires.
Yeah.
Now, they may get greasy and dirty, but they make good money at what they do. There's nothing wrong with working with your hands, and that's what this whole program is about.
Exactly.
And we need folks that do that.
That's right. I think that that's really a good thing. I've been to out to college where they have that workforce development training, and it's a nice building out there, and it's a big open area. But the classes, I think, need to be carpentry, plumbing. They mentioned plumbing last night. You had a plumber to quit at the county school, and for $10 an hour they let him go. I mean, I would have kept the guy if he was a good plumber, if you need a plumber.
Yeah.
But anyway, we need these type of classes. We need carpentry, bricklaying,
electrical,
plumbing, that type stuff is what we really need to teach these kids. In 3 or 4 years, I don't know if they start in the 9th grade or 10th grade with this. That was another thought I had that I didn't ask that question last night. I don't know if they start right when they get in high school in the 9th grade, or you have to be 10th or whatever. I know there's some kind of credits you have to have with English and
correct,
that type thing. You still have to have to get a diploma. So you're not going to go full time to this. But I would think that teach something that when they leave high school, they're ready to go to work.
All right, let me ask this. Odie and I brought this up last week. Scuba, East Mississippi Junior College, Scuba Tech, however you want to call it, is going to be offering a program.
Yes, they're building, and we don't know exactly what all, and I've got to do some research on that and find out. They are building a new center, a CTE center. They've got
probably similar to Meridian Community College.
Yeah, probably a workforce development, whatever. It was $2 million that they got from the state, and the total cost of this is going to be $6 million. $4 million out of them, $2 million out of the state. But we don't know if this is apples to apples or apples to oranges, because we don't know exactly what they're going to be putting in and what they're going to offer and what size of a building. But we do know that EMCC is joining the workforce development side in their school as well. So it's not going to be just at MCC. It's going to be at East Central. It's going to be at ECCC.
And what do you know the difference in between what is the community college? You may not know yet. This may be news to you also of what type of programs they're going to offer in comparison to this.
As the new ones are concerned. I do have, somewhat familiar with MCC. And they have a good 2-year maintenance technical program out there that a lot of kids go through that they do a good job at. When they get out, they're certified to drive a fork truck. They're certified lifting.
18-wheeler drivers.
No, that's a different class. But yes, you can go through the class and get,
They teach air conditioning to where you could go. And those are great.
They have some electrical classes.
Y'all let your air conditioner go out and try to call somebody.
Exactly.
We don't have enough of these guys and gals to come work on them.
That's right. And if you have things go wrong around your house where you need a contractor to come in and do some, cabinet work or fix some molding or something like that, not big stuff, can't get them. They stay so busy. They're building a house next door to me. And the contractor told him it was going to be 18 months to build a house because of getting the subs in there, the plumbers and electricals and all that stuff to make it happen. It's tough.
It is,
and we've got a lot of need for this. But $8 million is enough, in our opinion, that they could do really want to. I think if you'd have went to this architect, whoever he was in Gulfport, they hired and said, "I have $8 million to design me a building." We could have done it for that.
Now, we did have somebody ask that, who is the architect for this?
I can't think of his name. He was from Gulfport, and asked why they didn't use a local. They said they have to bid it out, and the Gulfport guy was less expensive and already had some experience in designing others in the state, other CTE classrooms in the state. That's why they went with it.
That's what we know at this point. More coming up as we tootle along on this early Wednesday morning. We want to smile. Might be a little fog where you are. More to talk about. And, of course, we want your questions there. We're trying to grab as many of them as we can as we roll along. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Bring on long days, sweltering heat, and acres that just won't end. Exmark mowers were born to deliver legendary reliability, signature cut quality, and stubborn durability that refuses to give in. Because like you, Exmark mowers were built for this. Visit your local dealer or explore an Exmark online for special finance offers available now.
Need an expert to repair a rock peck or cracked windshield? Call Advanced Auto Glass by Joey for quality workmanship and customer service. Convenient same-day service, as well as in-house calibration for vehicle safety systems. Reliable mobile service is available in Clark, Kemper, Neshoba, Lauderdale, and Newton counties for all cars, trucks, and heavy equipment. Book your appointment today for custom tinting. It can reduce temps, fading, glare, and more. Improve the safety and enhance the appearance of your vehicle today with services from Advanced Auto Glass by Joey.
And welcome back, Scotty Ray at Odie, as we welcome in. And we had a large audience last night, probably for the first time, be able to join and watch what went on at the CTE board meeting. We're going to do this again coming up on Thursday night at West Lauderdale Elementary. Bring it live to you so you can hear it, because we do understand you've got commitments that you got to go to, and not everybody can make it at that time. So we're going to carry it live. Make sure you're watching for that on Thursday night. And a big thank you for the Lauderdale County Schools for letting us come in and do that. It gives everybody an advantage to be, educated on what's going on. And I like that.
Yeah, it really does. And, a lot of people from Clarkdale wanted to pay attention to Clarkdale. A lot of people from West Lauderdale want to pay attention to West Lauderdale. But it's all together. We're in this together as one county.
That's right.
This is one school. This is every one of our kids. And I've said this before, I'm that greedy grandfather. I want my kids, my grandkids, to stay here. I want to see my grandkids get married, raise their family, have a good job here, because I want to see them. Right. I don't want them to have to move off to get a job, and then here I am going, okay, my kid's 3-4 hours away, and now I don't see them enough now as it is, much less if they move off. And I hope that we start getting industry here, because right now there is nowhere for my grandkids to go to work to make a livable wage to raise their
and you
family.
open up a can of worms, as the old saying go, when you bring that up. As we all know, and let's just sit back and grip a counter and face the hard, cold truth that for years, industry in and around the area didn't want new industry because it would make wages go up. That was fault. No, you're not coming here. I don't want to pay more for my employees. You'll run my expenses up. Look where we are now.
Instead of having a bigger pie, they wanted to keep their piece of the pie. Well, I think that pie has started crumbling, and now everybody's really losing.
Yeah.
Instead of letting everybody get a piece of a pie and making that pie bigger and bigger and bigger for everybody, they kept that pie small, and now the pie has outlived its life, and I think it's really starting to hurt us, and we're not getting industry. And a lot of that, in my eyes, is because we're over 50% of our people are sitting at home getting a government check that's the equivalent of a $45,000 a year job, and they don't have to go out and work a structured job. So I guess I'm saying all that to ask this question, Tony. Will this CTE program, will it bring jobs to our county if we do get this money? And are we going to be able to keep our families here and raise their family?
That's an excellent question. It depends on how it's done. Like I say, a lot of the stuff that we have here, the aviation there's a lot of jobs here, but it's limited on how many people can work on airplanes. And I can tell you this from being a past airplane owner, nobody touches that airplane without certification.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to have licenses on everything you do to an airplane, okay? So if they're not going to give them that when they get out of high school, I'm just wondering about how effective that's really going to be.
Their answer would probably be that they're directing them to go to college to further that. That's the way they're going to answer that.
Whether they're going to do it or not, that's the thing. I think that when I was in school in the 70s, people that went what we call shop, worked on cars and that type thing. When they got out of school, they went to work working on cars.
Yeah.
They had no plans to go further past high school. And they, like people say today, me and school didn't get along,
There's some people that just because you're not an English professor, that's not your cup of tea. You do other things wonderful. I'm not a musician. I love music, but I can't sing. Let me ask this, because I watch it and I follow it on Facebook and keep up with what they do. Winston County has a pretty big program that they do with this. Do we know how Winston County, is there any statistics that you've seen of how that's affected the job market? I know Taylor probably helps a lot with that.
Absolutely. Of course, they landed a big plywood mill up there, the old GP location. The county owned that building and they built it back, and they have a nice plywood mill there now that employs a lot of people, which is that I'm sure they're involved in that program somehow, getting employees trained to whatever they want it done.
Right.
The whole thing is, Scotty and Odie, is not that if this is done right, I'll have to say it'll probably help attract industry to our area. But at the same time, the way the administration has gone about this, in my opinion, is absolutely wrong. Not putting it, number one, putting it on the ballot in 35 days to let us vote it, and it wouldn't cost us another dime. And number two, having it in the schools, putting the children's safety at risk, making it difficult to vote, when people are getting there in the morning and in the afternoon, it's like a zoo. And, everybody's had to wait in those lines at school, and nobody wants to get mixed up in that to go vote.
Now, again, I want to ask you, because I don't want anybody twisting your words of what you've said this morning. Are you for some form of CTE program for Lauderdale County?
I am.
Okay. I want to make that clear.
I think it's needed, but I also think that the $8 million is enough. If you'd have given an architect, say, I can spend $8 million to design me that building, he could have done that, okay? And, you might not have got exactly the Taj Mahal you were looking for, but you could have done it for $8 million, guarantee you. Because if they wanted to give me the $8 million, I'd build it for them and save money in the process, okay? All right? It will happen, okay? Just maybe not the way they want it done. And, I just don't feel like with the taxes being maxed out now, that we don't need any more tax increases because, as you pointed out earlier, Scotty, there's people on fixed incomes that it hurts them. I even got a friend of mine whose parents are having to decide if this goes in, well, they can keep their house, or not keep their house, but keep their insurance on their house in their old age, because they said they have
it goes up every year.
Social Security and a couple $100 a month out of an IRA is the only income they have. So everything that goes up hurts them. And with this inflation, every time you go to the grocery store and get fuel in your car, it hurts these type people. And you got to think of those people as well. How many people we have in the county that this is going to really hurt for their taxes to go up.
Odie, you've been glancing over the comments. Have we missed any comments that somebody asked something before we get out this morning that needs to be addressed?
Yeah, one thing I do want to touch on, and we've got a lot of people that's really weighing in here, and we appreciate all that. But one thing I want to touch on is who can vote for this. If you live inside Lauderdale County, outside the city limits, and you're not in the separate school district, you can vote. Now, on your voting card, everybody look at your voting card.
Like I know where mine is.
Your registration, yeah. Over to the top right-hand side of that, I believe is where it says SCHD. You can vote. If it's got SCP, if there's a number under it, let me take that back. You'll see a section that says SCHD. If there's a number under that section, you can vote. If it says SEP, separate school district, you cannot vote. But also, and I'm trying to get clarification, Eagle Point, way off of 39.
They can.
They're inside the city, but they can vote.
Right.
So,
and let me ask this, Tony, and I'm sure you know this, and Odie, you probably know it, exact places where you go vote on this. Where are the places that's been announced by the school?
No, if you're living in Clarkdale Attendance Center, okay, the Northeast Middle School.
The middle, on Highway 39.
Right, Southeast Middle School, which is on Jeff Davis School Road.
Right.
And then West Lauderdale Elementary, which is out there just about to Kemper County.
Yeah, that's where you're right. You go past Jimmy Smith Road and you're in Kemper County.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I think they chose these places to make it as difficult as possible to get people to vote because it's so far from, like Clarkdale's right there on the county line, Clark County, and West Lauderdale's on the other side. Why didn't they have it at the high school?
Good point.
Okay, where it's right there in Collinsville. But let me say this, guys. I know we're running out of time here, but I hope everybody gets out and votes no on this thing because we don't need a tax increase and we don't need to give them a blank check. And I just really feel like that we've been flim-flammed here, calling a special election when it was not necessary, and opening up our schools as a voting precinct, which they absolutely did not have to do for any shape, form, or reason other than having the teachers there to vote for it on the day of election. And there's no other reason why they had it at school.
Now, let us say this. We are 100% fair down the middle. Tomorrow, we'll have Dr. Kane in to talk about his side of this. And one thing that we watched and learned out of this, although there was disagreement last night, no one got in no huge argument. We walked away at the end of the night. Everything was great. It was one of those scenes of agree to disagree, and that's what America is all about.
Sure.
This is not a place to go squabble and put in a headlock or anything like that. We don't do that. We're good folks here, and we want each side, because I'm sure there's somebody watching here that goes, wait a minute, I still think it's a great idea.
Sure.
We're going to have somebody tomorrow talk about that.
I have talked to friends of mine. I'm going to say 99% of the people I've talked to about this is against it.
Right.
The problem is getting out to vote, okay?
Correct.
But I talked to a friend of mine that said him and his wife are voting for it, and they're still friends.
Yeah.
I have no problem with how he feels on this issue.
As long as he votes.
That's right, as long as he votes. Mm-hmm. If he votes for it, good for him. If they feel like they need it, I'm still going to be friends with this guy.
Yeah,
okay?
and as we always say, you can't complain unless you vote. But unfortunately, everybody always does.
That's right. Everybody comes late. And how many people, if you go down to pay your taxes, down at the courthouse.
Right.
And you always hear people, and I have to shake my head, why did my taxes go up? Well, the school raised their property tax. Well, I didn't hear nothing about that. okay? And they ask you this question. Now, don't allow this tax increase to go into effect. Please get out and vote and show these people that they just can't run over us and do these what I consider underhanded things, having special elections and having it. You have to go to the schools to vote and have this thing pass. Don't let 14% of the people or 15% of the electorate raise 100% of everybody's taxes.
We agree. And we can't thank you enough, Tony, for coming in and talking with us today.
Thank y'all for having me today. I appreciate it.
And we want to say God bless to everybody. Y'all have been wonderful this morning. Again, we'll have Dr. Kane in tomorrow. Also, we're going to be heading back out to West Lauderdale Elementary on Thursday night to give you live coverage of what happens there as well.
Yeah, and somebody said, is there going to be a replay of this program? There's a replay of all of these programs. It's always on Facebook. It's always on YouTube. All you got to do is search Scotty Ray Report.
There it is.
The dates, there they are. You can go back and watch last night, last week, a year ago. It's all there. But definitely, Tony, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, guys.
And we look forward to, in the morning, talking to Dr. Kane and getting the rebuttal part of this. But it's time to go. 23 hours. We'll see you again. We couldn't do it without you. We love you.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.